welcome back to the world in darkness. Tonight, we gaze upward, into the shadows that cling to the highest spires of old cathedrals, to the stone figures that have watched over humanity for centuries. We're talking about gargoyles. Most people see them as simple, grotesque decorations, designed to channel rainwater away from ancient stone. But what if they are more? What if their frightening faces and contorted bodies serve a much darker, or perhaps a much more vital purpose? The official story is practical. The word gargoyle comes from the French gargouille, meaning throat or gullet. They were architectural marvels, preventing erosion. But why such monstrous forms? Why not lions, or eagles, or simple geometric shapes? The common explanation is that their fearsome appearance was meant to ward off evil spirits, acting as guardians for the sacred places they adorned. A sort of fight fire with fire, using stone demons to scare away real ones. This idea is comforting, in a way. It paints them as protectors, silent sentinels forever frozen in their duty. But legends tell a different story. One of the oldest tales comes from Rouen, France, concerning a dragon named La Gargouille. This creature terrorized the countryside, breathing fire and causing floods. A brave priest, Saint Romanus, is said to have subdued the beast with the sign of the cross. He brought it back to the city, where it was burned. However, its head and neck, tempered by its own fiery breath, would not burn. So, they mounted it on the walls of the new church as a warning, a trophy. From this legend, the tradition of carving monstrous heads on churches was born. This shifts the narrative, doesn't it? From protector to a symbol of a conquered evil. A constant reminder of the darkness that lurks just outside the holy walls. But the folklore doesn't stop there. Many stories suggest that these stone figures aren't just symbolic. They are the evil they represent, petrified, cursed demons, trapped in stone by holy magic, forced to serve the very power they sought to destroy. They are bound to the church, their prison. And here's where the truly unsettling idea begins to take shape. What happens when the sun goes down? Ancient whispers and forgotten texts speak of the curse weakening in the absence of sunlight. They say that under the pale light of the moon, the gargoyles can break free from their stone slumber. Their stone skin cracks, their limbs unfreeze, and they detach themselves from their perches to stalk the night. Imagine walking down a deserted city street late at night. The alleys are dark, the buildings tower over you like ancient giants. You glance up at the local cathedral, a landmark you've seen 1,000 times. But tonight, something is wrong. You count the gargoyles lining the roof. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have sworn there were 5. You dismiss it as a trick of the light, your imagination running wild in the silent city. You quicken your pace, the sound of your own footsteps echoing unnervingly. Then you hear another sound, a scraping like stone grinding on stone. It seems to come from above, behind you. You stop, your heart pounding in your chest. You slowly turn, your eyes scanning the rooftops. Nothing. Just the empty space where you thought the 5th gargoyle should be. You tell yourself you're being foolish and turn to continue on your way. But then you see it. A shadow detaches itself from a taller building across the street. It's large, hunched, with what looked like leathery wings. It's not a bird. It's too big, its shape too unnatural, too monstrous. It moves with an unnerving silence for its size, gliding from one rooftop to another, keeping to the deepest shadows. You're frozen in place, a primal fear gripping you. The stories you dismissed as folklore, as children's scary tales, come flooding back. Are they hunting? Are they patrolling? Or are they simply enjoying a brief, terrifying freedom before the first rays of dawn force them back into their stone prisons? This idea of living gargoyles isn't new. It's a recurring theme in horror and fantasy. Why? Because it taps into our deep-seated fear of the inanimate coming to life. The idea that something we perceive as solid and harmless could suddenly become a mobile, thinking predator is profoundly disturbing. It violates our understanding of reality. Think about it. These creatures are everywhere, hiding in plain sight. On old government buildings, universities, and of course, churches. We walk beneath them every day, never giving them a second thought. What if they are watching us? What if their grotesque expressions are not just artistic choices, but reflections of their true nature? A nature of malevolence, held in check only by the light of the sun. Some legends even claim that gargoyles are a species of their own, a race of ancient, nocturnal beings who made a pact with mankind. They would protect our sacred places from worse things that crawl in the dark. And in return, they would be given shelter, a place to rest during the day, safe from their enemies and the burning sun. This paints them in a more complex light. Not purely evil, but not exactly good either. They are territorial predators, and we just happen to live in their territory. Their protection is a side effect of them guarding their own homes. And what happens if we violate that territory, or if they decide we are the threat? The stories are unclear. Most accounts of gargoyle encounters are fleeting, glimpses of shadowy figures in the night, a sense of being watched from above, a sudden chill in the air. There are darker tales, of course. Stories of people who disappeared near old churches at night, of strange deep scratches found on the pavement or high up on brick walls, of witnesses who claimed to see stone monsters with glowing red eyes, only to be dismissed as drunk or insane. Are these just urban legends, campfire stories designed to give us a thrill? Or are they fragmented accounts of real events, warnings passed down through generations? The very design of a gargoyle is meant to unnerve. The fusion of human, animal, and demonic features creates something that feels deeply wrong, an aberration of nature. They are often depicted devouring people or in positions of torment. The artists who carved them centuries ago, were they simply exercising Tamanda Sansanli? Or were they trying to capture something they had seen, or something they truly believed in? Were they trying to warn us? Next time you find yourself near one of these ancient, ornate buildings as twilight begins to fall, do me a favor. Look up. Count the stone figures perched against the dying light. Pay attention to their forms, their expressions. And as the last sliver of sun disappears below the horizon, ask yourself, are they all still there? Do they look exactly the same as they did in the daylight? Or has one of them, perhaps, shifted its weight ever so slightly? When you walk home through the darkened streets and you hear a strange sound from the rooftops above, don't be so quick to dismiss it. It might just be the wind. Or it might be a guardian of the night beginning its silent, terrifying patrol. Thank you for joining us in the world in darkness. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration of the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and maybe, just maybe, stay out of the shadows.